Hey, good afternoon. This is Bob from Trade Genius. It's the 1st of December, and we're now ensconced in the holiday season. And what a great day to start, and a great way to start December. So I titled this post Hammer Time because you see when I go through some of these charts, a lot of hammers were formed today. And I think that bodes well for some reversals of some trades that we've recently entered, and hopefully in the correct direction. But I'm just going to blast through my charts here like I do every day, and I'm going to do something a little bit different though. I'm going to actually step back out to the daily and give a little bit bigger a bigger picture here. And one thing I found interesting looking at AG here is that you know it hasn't, with gold and silver supposedly getting hammered. AG has just been consolidating, and First Majestic. And when we trade it on a lower basis here, is that every time it gets down to $8, somebody's buying this thing up, and I think if gold gets a move higher, we're looking for First Majestic to get back over $10 here again pretty quick. So we'll just have to see. But I thought that was interesting because some of these metals and miners have been getting hit pretty hard. Boyle. We're actually in UNG this time, and but that's a gap up hammer here, and I think I recommend it for people either to sell calls against their UNG or to jump out of Boyle, and if we get any kind of consolidation here before the next bout of cold weather. I think it's probably already in the price of these shares, and so I would love for it to come back down again to to the 14 level before its next blast off into the mid 20s. We are going to get a brutally cold winter this year. In the world of the global warming, just hilarious to me. First, for Chesapeake, again, I think now it's top of the range, and now with natural gas, I think short-term top, and I think oil's going to roll over here. If you're in it, I'd get out. Corn, we've it's setting up again for another move higher. It's just so much inventory to get through, and I just read a report about an hour or so ago that not so much with corn, but with winter wheat, 23% of the winter wheat acres in the U.S. are under drought conditions, and I think with the weather that we're going to get this year, it's different than what we had in years past, because we've had really cold East Coast, but this time we're going to get a lot of snow and cold in the Midwest and the Plains, and in Canada, and I think it's going to delay planting. It's going to delay crop growth, and this same weather is all the grain belts in the northern hemisphere. So, I've been stumping on this ag thing for a long time, but La Nina's double these things in price, and so I'm just hanging on, and I'll add to when I can. But corn's about ready for another turn here once we get through some of these deliveries in the futures in December. CRK had a nice pop. Totally did not trade this, but again, I think if you're in it now, it's probably time to hop out and let's see where oil and natural gas go. DVA we talked about, and drip. We're in drip. We bought it yesterday at the gap down, and then it just continued to fall. But we're gonna make money on drip. I'll show you why in a minute here. But we've had there's not so much a hammer here, but it was it came back and gapped down, and it filled that gap. And if it continues to go up as I think it's going to, we'll get drip back over $20 again here pretty quickly. I'll tell you why and we'll get to the X's. Dust, I think if you want to, there's a good opportunity here to short it. Nice little doji on dust, and especially with these leverages, it doesn't take much to push these things down, as you just saw in the last chart with drip. Is that any kind of movement in the miners will bring this thing down into the mid 40s, low 40s in a heartbeat. Emerging market looks like it's going to sell off again. It's kind of weird. but it could be also the bottom of the channel here, and if the dollar falls, this thing can run up from 35 to the 39 area here pretty quickly. ERX, that looks like a dark shadow, dark cloud candlestick, one of the bearish candlesticks you can get, and if it follows through tomorrow, we had one of these for biotech about a year or so ago, and biotech fell 35% from that point. And so I think the oil services are going to follow oil down, and that's one of the things that's going to support drip for me. GDX sitting right on that moving average support area. It's been holding that area very well. The miners don't want to go any lower, and it's not because of lack of trying. Everybody and their brothers out there saying that the miners are going to go to zero again, and I think we're going to get a push here. That nice little doji candle there. Same with GDXJ and gold. I like that little gap down, a little spinning top, and I'm looking for I'm long gold futures and IAU, and I'm looking for gold to run up into the 120s again. Ditto. IYR, I'm short real estate. I've been talking about this forever, and so I've just been rolling it down. It's really interesting, even if interest rates may come back. This looks like it wants to test the bottom of this channel here, and so I'm just keeping an eye on it. But we've been making great money on IYR now for weeks, and we'll continue to do so. JDust, let me go back to JJG. Is again, it's just consolidating in this range, but I'm here to tell you the grains are going to pop. Coffee got hit really hard here again, and it's not because of supply and demand. I think this is all futures related, and they're Vietnam and Brazil and other places around the world are having infestation problems. They're having drought issues. They're having budding problems. They're having small cherries. It's an off-season year, so I think this might be futures guys trying to get people out before the move higher. I'll be entering this thing again here. I put a buy limit out again, and I'll be buying Joe here again very soon. Biotech, get to that in a second. We're short. MOS, little inverted hammer. We got out yesterday. Well, let me put it this way. I lost money on the trade. Subscribers with me stayed in and ignored the stop I put in there. And they were right and I was wrong, and it could have reversed right back up and then shot right up, and they made 3.5% on the trade, where I went ahead and I lost, I think, 2.5% on the trade, and then it went up again today, but a little inverted hammer here, and I think it's probably going to consolidate or fall. It seems to be going with the market for some reason, and so we'll see where this goes. But if it jumps over that moving average and starts getting a positive bias here on these channels, I have high hopes for Mosaic and also the ag chem companies. Nugget, Doji, oil, inverted hammer, a gap up inverted hammer, and look, we had another one of these right here too. They just push this stuff, chase people out of their positions, and then it just has there's just no natural price up there for it. We're just awash in oil. It's all news. So if you're long oil, I would highly suggest you get out. There's just nothing holding this thing up other than futures speculators and the news media that's reporting these events for OPEC. But we're awash in oil, and the contract the structure is such that rolling the contracts now are going to start having people lose money, especially if you're oil tankers. The spread between the front year and a year out is like $3 now. It should be like closer to 10, and so it tells me that either people are going to expect oil to go from 52 to 62 in a year, which is highly doubtful, or oil is going to come from go from 50 back to 43, and I think that's the direction it's going to go, and it's going to fall even farther than that in my view. REK, we're long. This is the way a lot of people are playing it that aren't playing with options. So I usually, when I give a buy signal REK, I'm shorting IYR because I like the leverage with the options. But look at that, it's a beautiful chart, and I think it's just going to grind higher, and real estate's in trouble. And I think people are realizing that they probably have overvalued assets, and they have assets that may not get the income streams they think. And I think if you own real estate, even if you believe in it and you think I'm all wet, this is a great hedge for you in case I'm right and you're wrong. SDS, I think we're going to have a run higher here. I don't trade it because it doesn't move enough to interest me, but I think if you like to have some security with the hedging your long book, I think it's time to go ahead and buy. Sugar, I'm waiting for the next buy signal on. It looks like it's turning down again, and I'm not going to jump the gun on this, but when sugar goes, it's going to go. So it's probably going to fall, probably almost retrace the whole year's move. And it seems like sugar and coffee and cocoa kind of run in the same, kind of the costs move together. But orange juice is turning, and that usually bodes well for the other soft. So I'm keeping an eye on when to get into sugar here again, and I'm going to get in on a futures contract. I'm not going to buy SGG. SALJ held up again, just flat rock, and if you look at that chart, maybe it's going to roll down to back to $8, but I think we're going to get a pop on it, and at least for us, because we just trade on a couple days or a week or so at a time, is we'll generate some profit from it. But these miners have just been holding on. SLV held its support here. I'm looking for it to pop. If you believe in the quote-unquote the story about economic progress and the Trump rally, silver's an industrial metal. It's used in medical, it's used in solar, it's used in other industries. And so why is it moving with copper? And it's because they the bankers know that if silver moves, gold will follow. And as you can see in India and in China and in Greece, they don't want people to have an alternative currency to the the crap that they're producing. And so that's why they're trying to hold silver back. But what's happening in India, they're screwing around with gold, and people are starting to trade with silver. So silver can get a big run here, and so when some of these countries start overplaying their hand here with trying to demonetize their economies. SLW, we got stopped out of that little doji bottom there. It took me out, but I'll probably get back in again. I have to look at the buy signal down on the 2-hour basis, so but I'll probably buy this thing right back. SPY, I'm looking for 215 on this thing. It's just overbought, grotesquely so, and this whole Trump thing is just some sort of mechanism that people use to get out of their positions and pass on their shares to the unsuspecting. But we'll with this gap right here, I bet you before the inauguration we'll fill that gap. But we're definitely going down to this level here. There's just nothing holding this thing up. It was a yen sell game, and let me see if I can pull up the yen here. I mean, look at that. That's why SPY went up right here, folks. All right, it was a contrived move by the Japanese and then others who maybe wasn't even the Japanese. Who the heck knows? But they probably went along with it. But it was used to fund a lot of things. And now currencies are very highly leveraged. So when this thing snaps back, and it will, then you're going to see reversals in all the things that had big moves higher. SPY and oil come to mind, and gold come to mind to me. So just keep an eye on FXY. If it fills this gap and starts coming back into the channel again, look out. We got a buy signal on it on a daily here. Oops, I forget where I was. I'll go to oil because I think that's where it was. Let me see. REK. Oh no, I was in the S's. First thing to go is the mind. I've been trading since 4 this morning California time, so I'm a little tired. Let's see here. SPY. And we talked about real estate, and we talked about UNG. Came right up to our resistance area here. I'm definitely looking for this to go much higher. I just think it needs to pause here, refresh. I think there's some contract rolls coming up. I haven't been paying attention. I have to look at the natural gas futures and the C. And then I think once this cold really sets in January, UNG is going to go from probably anywhere from 305 to 315 area from its consolidation from where it's at now, 350. It's going to go to $4. So we'll get a 30% move here and take this thing easily over $10, $12 for UNG. Dollar finally starting to show some signs of exhaustion, and I'm looking for this thing to fall back at least to the VWAP here. UVXY, we're finally getting moving in volatility, and we're long VXX, and I'm also long the VIX contract. So it's a nice move for us today, and I went from being down $1,000 on the trade to being up. I don't know where it closed. I left 15 minutes for the close, but I'm probably up between $600 and $800 now on the trade. And then VXX, you know, we been selling calls against our position because I'm waiting for another bump like this coming, and I'm waiting for it to come up and grab this area here again. I think this is going to be a big move because of uncertainty now with what's happening with the currencies and what's going to happen with Yellen and what's going to happen with Trump and people positioning to get themselves out of Dodge. That I'm looking for a good move, and you know, to me 32 to 35 is not out of the question, and we bought our way down to, I think we're now like 30.45 is, I took off my sold call yesterday for next Friday, so I think our average is around 30.45 right now, and I intend to make 10% on this trade before the year's out. And wheat's all-time low. I mean, there's nowhere else to go. I mean, they're depleting the stockpiles, and most of the wheat now is just garbage out there. And I think once that passes, we'll get a great move in wheat. I talked about the drought conditions, and then wheat's going to fly. Let me take a look at soybeans real quick, because actually the best one that moves of all when we really get rolling will be soybeans. Yeah, it's holding up really well. I think it's put a little cup in there, and I'm going to add this to the watch list for people if they just want to specialize in it. China doesn't have enough chickens, they don't have enough pigs, they don't have enough feed for them, and they're buying all that stuff up. And you know, there's big floods. You know, you see, our reporters are so worried about Beyonce and you know, did Trump have a locker room conversation or this or that, when they should be out there nosing around to see that China is buying up everything in the world, because if they don't, their people are going to starve, and if we let them take all our stockpiles and then we start having deficits, we're going to starve. But we don't do any kind of reporting at all. You know, we're not nosy at all. I have a friend in Taiwan that worked in China that has to give me the news. And he can't give me the news while he's in China. He has to leave China because China won't let the news get out. So that's the kind of crazy stuff that we got to deal with here. But you know, it's going to be, I won't call it life or death for us. It's going to be life or death for them. Seriously, no hyperbola. But for us, I think we're going to be seriously inconvenienced when people really realize how much food China does not have, and what they need. And with Trump coming in, you know, he's not going to be like handing this stuff over like Obama would and let our people starve, you know, or pay 3 times what we should pay because our food's sitting over there instead of here. So just keep an eye, watch this stuff. Nose around. If you're from these parts of the world, start asking harder questions. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to look at what Japan is in snow. In Japan, keep records for centuries. People can't recall, snowfalls like they're getting in Tokyo now. And northeastern China and all of Siberia is socked in. Record cold, highest high pressure ever recorded in Mongolia, ever. And that's that cold is sinking down onto the people. So, and that is pushed out. So, I mean, there's some serious stuff going on here. These people that are promoting this climate change garbage, I think in 3 or 5 years, I think people are going to be mad enough to probably hang some of these people. It's really going to be, people's eyes are really going to be opened to what a disservice they did to prepare people for what's coming. All because they wanted power and control and some sort of global universe of dignitaries to run everybody's lives in America and in Europe. But anyway, I digress. It's coming, folks. But anyway, this is Bob from Trade Genius. We had a really good day today. If oil falls like I want it to and gold goes up like I want it to, then we're hitting with all cylinders on all our trades. So anyway, have a great one. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.